Oh, yes, 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 yes. I'm super excited about this person. So this person is somebody that I actually know from Toastmasters and then found her in the storytelling world. Like, this is super duper cool. As you can see here from her accomplishments, the 2020 National Association of Black Storytellers Festival. She was in a storyteller for the Women's History 2020 Maryland in that place because my basic English is not good enough to be able to say that correctly. She was in a Women's Storytelling Festival as well, and you can see that she has all these things coming up. I'm excited to have her. Ask her the question. Ask her the question, what is her favorite thing about being indoors? Her favorite thing to do is to take a bath. Most everything I prefer to do outside, read, eat, sleeping, and all other richer things. Technically, you could take a bath outdoors, but there's more privacy when you do it indoors. That's all I'm putting out there. That's all I'm saying. Ladies and gentlemen, coming next to your virtual stage is Arthuretta Holmes Martin.
Good evening, everyone. I am a storyteller. And in being a storyteller, everything I see, I can take it and mold it and make it into a story. So sit with me and relax and think about where you were last year this time, as I tell you about how I spent my lockdown. It was like a plague. It drifted like a slow-moving cloud, ominous. There were rumors and talking heads and neighbors and friends. Everybody suspected this thing. They believed this thing. Everybody knew somebody who had gotten sick. Everybody saw all of the news reports and everything was scary, from our air to the bottom of our feet to our hair and clothes, and we just didn't know what to do. Then slowly, the world as we know it shut down. Airlines, malls, parks, doctor's offices, hair salons, nails, everything closed. People around the entire world were afraid. Legitimately so, they were afraid. You see, this unseen enemy, this threat, this murderer had a first name. It was Corona. And his last name was Virus. We called him COVID for short. And he lurked everywhere like a sniper. Nobody knew who the next victim would be. And I, like you, were legitimately anxious. What do we do when we get anxious? We nest, we shop, we prepare. So I bought the toilet tissue and the bleach and the paper towels and all of those things. By the time I got to the store, the Lysol was gone. Somebody really smart put vinegar in place of the Lysol and the bleach. I bought some of that too. Then one morning, I'm told we're going to start reducing the hours to shop. That was it. I just knew that life as I knew it was going to be over and I had to stock up. So I went to the store and bought 2 months worth of food. My son came in from Las Vegas. He was planning to go right back to Vegas, but then they canceled his return flight. He reluctantly stayed in Virginia, and I'm thinking this is my nest, but you know, what you gonna do when it's your children? You know, we gotta make room for them. Both of us were saying, say it isn't so, but you know. I bemoaned, he bemoaned, no parties, no parties, no lights, no flash. He was not a happy camper. Then he went into my kitchen cabinets and my refrigerator and he said, Mom, you do too much. You're extra, Mom, you're extra. I said, look, you're staying in my house, okay? So let me be extra. He said, all right, all right. I don't know if my nesting is big enough for the two of us, but I thought we're going to make this work. So we did. For days and weeks, like everyone else, we were hustled and binged watched Netflix and YouTube and everything else and read books and read articles. And I wrote some stories and I even did a few shows, got used to learning how to use Zoom like the rest of us. And then I tried to stay away from the news because you see, I kept getting all these conflicting messages. It was crazy. So what he and I started to do was to have breakfast together. Imagine that. We were sitting like a family having breakfast. And then one morning we were sitting like close to the deck. We started to notice across the horizon, we could see the other side. And then we started to notice that the sky was bluer and the clouds were whiter. And there was all this noise from birds singing. I don't think they ever sounded so loud. That morning, gazing outside our window, we saw God's masterpiece. The unintended consequence of the pandemic. We both got quiet and we listened to those birds who were singing like their lungs had become free. One of them, a sparrow, decided he was going to be bold. It was probably a she, because she decided she was going to sit up on my rail and she just looked at us and we looked back at her. And then my son said, look, y'all, I know why we can breathe. The people are in cages. They're on lockdown. Well, I bust out laughing because it really did look like that was what the bird would say. So the little bird fluttered away and we just laughed and we said, road trip, we're getting up out of here. So I posted it on Facebook. We're going on road trip. Well, you know what Facebook is not good when you want to tell folks stuff. They say, oh no, don't do it. You're going to breathe the air. You're going to die. We said, no, we'll be good. We'll be cool. It's going to be all right. So he and I packed up the SUV, loaded it with charcoals and everything. And then we went to try to find some place to have this little outing. Everything was locked up, yellow tape everywhere. Till I said, I know what's open. State parks, because they cannot lay off that many state people. They got to have a couple folk. So we drove around to Leesylvania Park, which isn't too far from me. And lo and behold, there was no gate closed. And then we drove up to where you got to pay the money. We didn't have to worry about it. Nobody was there. So we drove in through all the hills and the trees and the bushes and got to the end where there were no people and there was no yellow tape. And we said, hot dog. We getting ready to have some hot dogs, hamburgers, everything that I had bought from the grocery store was not going to be cooked on the stove. It was going to be cooked in the hot grill in the great outdoors. And so that's what we did. We put them hot dogs and everything out there on that grill. And then who would come to visit us? Mr. Ranger came, hands in pocket. He was following his nose. And he said, Y'all can be out here, but I want you to know only 10 people can be at a table at one time. My son and I looked at each other. We looked around. We the only two folk out there, but we didn't want to cause nothing. So we said, yes, sir, Mr. Ranger. My son said, would you like a plate? Hot dog, sir, hamburger, fries, whatever. He said, no, we're not allowed to eat the food. And my son said, come on, ain't nobody out here. Y'all, you can have something. He said, no, that's okay. And he walked away. And as I was watching him walk away, my son decided he would do the ultimate cookout thing. He broke out the chicken and he put the chicken on the grill and it started to sizzle and it smelled so good. But there was somebody who was not happy about that smell. My son's friend must have told his cousin that he had his other cousin on the grill. My son said, if you don't stop all of that noise, I'm going to put you on here. Just like that, the thing said, now, you know what? I think that bird understands what you're saying. He said, if you don't shut that noise up, and the bird flew away. I said, boy, you done got your Dr. Doolittle on this week. He said, you know what? I certainly did. So just as Justin was cleaning up and the pandemic was easing up after a few weeks and we were no longer wearing masks in the house anyway, and we no longer thought that the Corona could get in our hair and on our clothes, my son said to me, this pandemic's got me thinking, I think I'm gonna become a vegetarian. I smiled and I said, yeah, I've never seen Dr. Doolittle with a drumstick in his hand. Change can be painful. Change can be cleansing. Let's not lose the refreshness that we have come to experience as a result of the unfortunate, the unintended consequence of a pandemic. The sky, it can continue to be bluer and the clouds, they can really be whiter and the birds can chirp if we let them. We can see further if we try, and the animals and the great outdoors can be happy.